right. After a 48-hour off-season, we are ready to get the 2021 PGA season started. Awesemo.com, Tuesday PGA show. Ben Rasa, Tim Frank, the band is back together. We are refreshed. We're ready to go. Tim, how did you enjoy your 2 days?
It was tough, man. It wasn't even 1 day, right? I mean, yeah.
Okay, it was like 0 days.
It's great
actually.
to really recharge the batteries after a grueling season. No, that's why we love golf, right? Because there is no off season. You just keep going forever.
Did you watch? Yeah, that's some type of purgatory. Did you watch on Monday?
Hell no, I didn't watch on Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
They didn't even
Sunday,
play Thursday.
whatever day it started. No, I couldn't have been more out on a tournament, and it's unfortunate because it's 30 great golfers playing a good course. But yeah, I'm just the format is dumb, and I tried to convey that on Twitter. Like, I just don't think that format, like, I think it kills it for the hardcore golf fans. And then but it doesn't bring in any other fans to watch it. I think the guys that would be watching it are watching it anyway and just think it's stupid, but it's not like other people that normally wouldn't watch are somehow tuning in. Nobody cares about the money. It's a lot of money, but it could be $1 billion and like no one would still care. They just want to watch a golf tournament contested by great players at a great course. And I think that they screw it up with the staggered start, and it just makes a lot of people lose interest. And I played Billy Ho and Ryan Palmer, so it was evident very early that I was not going to win any money. So
I tried to give it I wasn't going to pay attention. Then I saw like Friday out of the gate, Leishman was on fire, so I knew it was going to be a long week. Mackenzie, it was just not for me, and I needed a little break. I wish they would get into all the things I want them to do for the Tour Championship. It would never happen, but it's just really hard to manufacture drama with guys like that, adding more money to large bank accounts.
Yeah, I mean, to me, honestly, what makes the most sense is to just like they used to do it. Just play the Tour Championship straight up. And if DJ already has it locked up at the Tour Championship, nobody cares. You know, nobody's going to matter because they're still going to want to watch the Tour Championship and who actually wins that. And it's just like, it's a small field and you take like half the field out of contention right off the bat by putting them in such a big hole. I just think the way it was, like, just nobody, the tour will never come to grips with the fact that nobody cares about the FedEx Cup. And I think that's the problem. They're trying to make it relevant, but nobody really cares. And as golf fans, I don't think it matters. I think we just want to watch a good tournament. And, yeah, they messed that up too. So,
wow. Yeah, it's true. It's a different type of sport. They have their Super Bowls in the form of majors. So playoffs are not, it's kind of like soccer, but it's still different. And it is like I said, it doesn't really matter. We turn the page. The crazy thing about golf is now everything resets to zero and we get a new season. It's going to be really different. We've got a major next week. That's not what normally happens, but the Safeway Open, which is what we're dealing with this week, does happen each and every swing season from Silverado Country Club in Napa. Tim, you've seen this course a million times. They play here every year. Do you like it? What do you make of it?
Yeah, a decent course. I want to throw this out. I think I have terrible splits on Poe. I'm just bad on Poe for DFS. I'm more of a Bermuda guy. I feel like every time we get on Poe, I do awful. So
$1 million idea would be a fantasy national, but for the DFS players themselves.
I can't think of a tournament that's been played on Poe where I've done well. I suck, and maybe it's because I'm too tied into these like Russell Henley types, the SEC guys. I don't know, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I suck on Poe. Anyway, California, Poe greens, obviously 7,200 yard par 72. I don't know, pretty straightforward kind of tree line track. I don't think there's anything in the layout or the setup that's really outrageous. We've seen the winning score anywhere. I think they played here like 6 or 7 years. We've seen the winning score anywhere from like 14 to 18 under. So I mean, moderately difficult to maybe a little bit easier on the continuum. I don't know. It's not like a total just outrageous birdie fest being a par 72. I guess a little bit easier than average is how I would classify it. But, we've seen the longer hitters have success here. We saw Champ, Kevin Tway, Brendan Steele back-to-back as far as winners. But, we've also seen some shorter hitters in and around the leaderboard as well. So I think maybe a slight bump to the Bombers as usual. But, if you have a good line on a short hitter or you have things you like about a guy that's not as long off the tee, I mean, they can contend here as well. 7,200 yards, not overly long.
No. And I just, guys like Champ, when they putt well, they're going to be in contention. So I don't think it leans Bombers. I don't think it really leans much of anything. Some tracks are just middling, and this to me is one of them. You're not going to see 25 under. You're not going to see 8 under. You're going to see what we see here. Skill set wise, it's such a bad field that, I don't really even know if you can label some of these guys. It's just getting hot with the irons, making putts, as always. You're not going to be super punished off the tee, and it is POA green. So change of scenery. They go out west. It's hard. We've never, it's such a unique situation. The U.S. Open is next week, yet we're starting the swing season.
Yeah, and especially being, really such a condensed season. We saw a lot of great players play a ton of events in the last 12 weeks, this being literally 1 week after the Tour Championship. Sandwich, I mean, you couldn't think of a worse spot as far as for attracting a good field, right? I mean, the week after the Tour Championship, after all these guys just played like 12 weeks in a row, on the opposite coast the week before a major. So just a terrible, just a terrible spot, to attract any kind of field. But,
I believe, and Chad, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, there is not one player in this field who played last week.
Yes. Nobody that played the Tour Championship. A couple guys played on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Oh, okay. Well, we go to you for that. I'm not going to, you're going to hit me with like, whoa, this guy, who won on the Korn Ferry last week? Was it anyone in this field?
No idea. No. Okay. Nobody even played, nobody played well. They played.
Okay. Well,
Martin Laird somehow played on the Korn Ferry Tour last week.
Party Marty. Well, chat, this is going to be one for the books. The good thing about this is you're going to be able to play guys at prices that you'll never be able to do ever again. I can say that confidently. So let's get it started. Let's do it. 10K and above, we've got 4 players. Matt Kuchar's withdrawn. So we've got Siwoo Kim at 10-8, Phil 10-6, Shane Lowry, and Brendan Steele, who gets a massive course history bump. Go ahead, please take it away.
Yeah. So like all the prices are going to feel uncomfortable, pretty much above 8K. That's just how it goes. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get a course history bump like Brendan Steele has gotten in this to be 10K. I mean, how much? I feel like he'd be like 7,800 if he hadn't won this twice. I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know, that price just is out of nowhere. This is gonna sound crazy, but I actually think Siwoo Kim is the best play at the top. And it sounds nuts, but he has played really consistently since the restart. And the ball striking has been really, really good in the last 3 events. So he's made his last 9 cuts, positive ball striking in 5 of the 9. His last 3 starts were plus 4.2 at the Northern Trust, plus 9.7 at Wyndham, where he was T3, and plus 6.3 at the PGA. So 3 really good ball striking events in a row. And we know he has upside. I mean, ran away with the Players, won the Wyndham, lost in a playoff at Harbour Town. He's been in contention. He's been super inconsistent, obviously, over his career, but he's found some consistency. I feel like if you blocked all the names off, you didn't know who any of these guys were, and you just looked at kind of their pedigree, their history, and their recent form and stats, I think it would easily be Siwoo Kim. But people are like, oh, Siwoo Kim, he's awful for long stretches. But I mean, I don't love the price, but compared to these other guys at the top, I think it's pretty easy. I mean, he's been far more consistent than any of these guys, and he has the upside.
So listen, it's a small range. So there's only 4 guys, and one of them is Phil. So it's really only 3 guys. Shane Lowry, I think, is probably the best player, but at the same time, I don't really go to him in spots like this. I would rather play Steele, he's playing better than you would think. Yes, he's getting a giant course history bump, but he comes into this 6 straight made cuts, a 6th, a 13th, a 22nd in there. He's gained with the irons in 6 straight events. He's gained tee to green in 6 straight events. Si Woo's ball striking numbers are better right now. There's no doubt about it, but I feel pretty confident that Steele plays fine. What I feel most confident in is that you can fade this range and be completely live at the end of the week. There's no rhyme or reason why these guys are ahead of dozens of other players in this field.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You definitely don't need to start in this range. But for me, just of the 4 guys above 10K, I prefer Si Woo, based on all the reasons I said. Consistency over the last 10, 11 weeks plus upside. Now, not a great course. He seems to be a guy that plays great, at short hitter Bermuda tracks, which this is not. But in the same vein as Lowry, Lowry seems to prefer stronger fields, more difficult conditions. So I'm with you. I don't like him here. Phil, he played out of his mind at the WGC, but that was really over the last 2 years. He's not been great. He won on the Champions Tour. Who cares? So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Siwoo. It sounds nuts, but I think the numbers and everything kind of. To me, it's pretty easy, even though the price sucks. But if you had to play one of those 4 guys, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, and I would go Steele. Everything that you're going to do up top is going to feel crazy. You just have to accept that if you're going to play this week, because there's no one who, if they were really good golfers, they honestly wouldn't be here. So that's neither here nor there. The next range, though, I think is where a lot of people are going to have a ton of interest. And it's not just because you have some decent players, but you have, 10 guys in the 9s, starting with Sergio. Spieth is here. Unbelievable. Griot. Dahmen has been a popular pick. EVR, Sneds. I assume you're very comfortable maybe picking a couple of these guys to start your lineups.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'll probably be pretty popular too. This is a tough range because it feels like a lot of similar plays from 9,000 to 9K or 9,900. And it's just a matter of, there's going to be some of these guys there on Sunday just trying to figure out, who it is. Because, quality here, there's some quality players in here, some guys like Dahmen that made it, 1 step shy of the Northern Trust. Streelman, one step shy of the Tour Championship. Same thing with Streelman. So guys that, made a decent run, but still some inconsistency. I guess out of this range, I like Sergio at 9,900. I think the ball striking has been good since they've come back. He's made 5 of 7 cuts. Positive ball striking in every start, even the 2 missed cuts. The putting has just been atrocious. He's 187th in strokes gained putting. This season, we all know that I'll just throw that out and pretend like it never happened. Smart man. But no, I just think based on long-term form, he's definitely a classier golfer than almost everybody in this field. And he's hitting it well. The putter just hasn't cooperated. And I think 9,900 in this field, I think that's a decent price. So he'd probably be maybe my favorite play at the top. Him and I would probably prefer him to Siwoo over Siwoo. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous to say that. I guess if I had to start with somebody, it would be Sergio for me.
Do you echo those thoughts? I know it's not the same caliber of player, but clearly we know that Griot is a very good ball striker. He can't putt. He is a winner here. The form, he found something, at the 3M, he was fantastic. And then he was decent, made the cut at the major. Do you go to him in a spot where he's clearly overpriced, or you're not nearly as high on that?
I don't know. I feel like I'm just so scarred from playing Griot so much and him being awful. Yeah, he's playing better, but 9,700, that's expensive. I think I'd rather roll the dice with a guy like Dahmen, who good ball striker, consistent. He seems overpriced as well. or even EVR at 9,400. I think he's a little more boom or bust. Inconsistent. We're not sure what we're going to get from him, but that might not be a bad thing. In a GPP, I think in these terrible tournaments, you see people gravitate towards consistency, like guys where it's like, oh, he's made 6 cuts in a row and the stats like aren't awful. But if you're just locking in like a T30, even in a terrible field, like that's no good. I'd rather maybe focus on some guys that, we don't know what we're going to get from him, but if he's on, he has a legitimate shot to win this event. I think people just look for safety when there's just a bunch of terrible players, and I don't know if that's the best way to go.
No, it's not. And it's counterintuitive because when you see the pricing, you're just like, oh my God, this is a disaster. How am I going to get these guys through the cut? So your first inclination is like, all right, well, let me pick guys that are at least playing well and consistent. In fields like this, you really do want to ramp it up. I don't think that Varner per se is ramping it up, but he is someone that has shown he can compete in certainly stronger fields than this. He had a putt to advance in the FedEx Cup, just got nabbed right at the end there. But this is a guy that tee to green, checks out, crushed it at the Wyndham. I think that's a type of player I think is very live to break through an event like this. I like Varner quite a bit this week.
Yeah, I'm with you in along the same lines where it's like he's had some really good performances since the restarts, and he's had some bad performances.
You can live with that though.
It's like you're playing GPPs, especially large field GPPs. I mean, you're just literally should only be focusing on upside, especially in the more expensive plays. So I mean, I'm with you. I like him a lot, and the inconsistency kind of draws me to him. People might look at it like, I don't know, he's missed 3 of his last 5 cuts, but this is an awful field, and when he's on, the ball striking can be very solid. So I don't mind him at all. Redmond, I don't like that they're on Poe. He was really bad his last time out, but I just think in the last year and a half, his ball striking has been so good, consistent. I wouldn't mind taking a shot with him.
No speed.
Sneds, I really thought we'd get like a sneaky Sned spot where he was going to be like 8K or something, but boy, 9,300. I guess I didn't realize the course history was pretty good here, but I thought we'd get a cheap spot where you could play him But boy, I don't think this is it. That's pretty expensive for as bad as he's been playing. He's
been terrible. He isn't. We both are big. Sneds is live to win. He's got good win equity. His best finish since Farmers back in January is 22nd, and that was at a WGC. He's done nothing. So I'm not going to go there. Spieth is there, and I have said that I do think if/when he finds it, it's going to be at a garbage field, not at the Masters against the best players in the world. But he's virtually a lock at this point to lose off the tee. And his putter is not nearly as Mackenzie Hughes-like as he needs it to be. So I'm not sure I'm going to chase it. I might have a little, but I assume you're not on board with really targeting Spieth this week.
Yeah. You assumed right. I'm actually the opposite. I'm on board with not playing him in any lineups, any format. That may be low ball.
Low ball. I wish I had low ball.
Elite low ball play. Oof, him and Snedge, you pair those guys up, you're just.
Yeah, this is an easy week to play low ball. You could get to 60K if you needed to. Let's get to the 8K range. Cam Davis leads us off. We've got Keegan. We've got Burns. My guy, Bud Cauley. It's a mix and match of a lot of different types of players in here. Danny Lee, Will Gordon, Mark Hubbard, who did not miss a cut during the restart, also gained strokes putting every week during the restart. That's something. What do you do with this range, which is just kind of your run-of-the-mill PGA Tour player?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cam Davis is interesting at 8,900. Been playing better, made his last 4 cuts. Positive ball striking in the 3 shot link events. One of those was the Barracuda, so we don't know what happened there. He's been okay. I like Burns at 8,700. Again, kind of like Redmond. I wish this was not Poe. More of a Bermuda guy. But I think this is a really good spot for him. A little bit like Varner, kind of been inconsistent, but we've seen some really good performances out of him. Long off the tee, great off the tee player, great putter. That can lead to some really good scoring, especially on a par 72. So, I mean, I like Sam Burns. I played him a lot, at least 4.5 ball striking in 4 of his last 7 events. And a little bit erratic, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. And I think this is a course that could set up pretty good for him outside of the green surface. But I try not to make too much of the putting splits. But that would be the only kind of red flag for me. But I really like the spot for Burns.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Burns is a good player. I think we're saying the same thing in that he has shown, it's early, but he has shown a serious split. He's an LSU guy, and Bermuda right now is his only good surface on the greens. His ball striking is very good, and it's not to say that he can't luck box a putting performance even on a surface he doesn't like. Cam Davis, the thing I like about him, and I always go, I say this every time, I go to Fratelli. This is like the Fratelli formula. This guy gains strokes, not consistently, but he can gain a lot of strokes in any way. Like, he's a good driver of the ball. He's had multiple performances where he's gained 4 strokes with the irons. He's had multiple performances where he's gained 4 or 5 strokes putting. So it can come from anywhere. If you ever combine like 2 of those in a week, he could win. And that type of inconsistently is actually a good thing. You kind of rev it up, and we've talked on this show before, Tim. Give me a guy who's going to gain 5 strokes putting or lose 5 strokes putting over a guy who just gains 0 every week.
Yeah, exactly. You want like the Billy Horschel of like, you know, -5, like +10 or something, because that you're going to that's what you need, right? I mean, he could right around 0 is never going to give you anything, or slightly negative, slightly positive. You kind of want those boomer bust guys in all aspects, and especially putting. Yeah. Another guy. What do you think about Tyler Duncan at 8,400? I think he's no, not a fan.
No, I'm a big T-Dunk fan.
You like it? Yeah, I mean, I think he's, since the restart, been really, really good. Made 8 of 9 cuts, positive ball striking in 7, and he's kind of a guy that he's played well since they came back. It doesn't feel too expensive. I mean, 8,400 is still more expensive than you would normally pay for him in a normal event, but I just think, considering how well he's played since the restart, how well he's struck it, I think it's a decent price for him. I don't mind him at all at 8,400.
No, I have no problem with him. I do prefer Bud Cauley just because it's Bud Cauley and he's showing a little signs. That's what I do. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Duncan, you look at his form and he's gaining consistently with the irons. His last tournament is a straight throwout. He made it to Olympia Fields. Nobody's stats are going to look good at Olympia Fields. Like, just the fact that he made it there is an accomplishment. That course was impossible. None of the guys in this field basically have that to their resume right now, and they're lucky they didn't, because that was the hardest week of the entire year. So I don't mind that. Do you have any feel on a guy like Will Gordon? I really don't. I probably will pass, but I have trouble conceptually grasping how good he is.
Yeah, I don't think I would be playing him, but I see the merit just based on a really young player who has some upside. We've seen him contend in one event, not a lot of starts. I don't think I'll get there, but I think in an MME setting, if you're just looking for maybe a guy that can flash, but he's an SEC guy, right? I feel like he went to an SEC.
Who?
Will Gordon.
I thought he went to Vanderbilt, but I might have.
Yeah, I think he went to Vandy.
I mean, that is SEC, but
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing him. I don't think I'll get there though. Just like a lot of times with these really young guys, unless they come out of the gates and the stats are just really good right off the bat, I take more of a wait and see approach.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, you're going to have a multitude of quote unquote flyers in this field. So I tend to, if I'm going to take a stab on a guy, I'd rather do it in like, the low 7s, high 6s, rather than like at that price, you can get some golfers that we have a resume on.
He's a better play than Lucas Glover. I don't know what happened to Lucas Glover.
Remember when he was gaining like 30 strokes tee to green?
Yeah, he was just like lock button. I don't know, and then all of a sudden it just it went
away. Yeah. Anything else? I know we covered most guys from this range, but anything else before we keep going?
No, I think I'm good on the 8K range.
Okay.
We got some good plays here in the 7K range, though.
Oh, we certainly do. And Chad, I know we've got legitimately every single sport in the world going on right now, but we appreciate you making some time for a little PGA. So if you could hit the like button now that you're here listening to us break down the Safeway, we'd appreciate it. Let's get into it. 7K range. Denny McCarthy, the putting god himself, first. Charles, not a putting god, second. All sorts of players here. We'll start with the upper sevens. Anybody catch your eye? Is it like Patrick Rogers season? I feel like you could say something like that.
Denny McCarthy is a good play this week. Dude, look at the numbers. I'm gonna keep saying this. I feel like if this was event was on Bermuda, I would just have it just completely just be a print fest, because I like all these guys that are good on Bermuda. The ball striking numbers for McCarthy have been really good. Plus 4.2 at Northern Trust, plus 7 at Wyndham, plus 1.3 at the PGA Championship. He played the Barracuda. He was plus 1.3 at the 3M. I mean, he's the best putter in the world. This isn't his preferred surface, but the ball strikes, he has found something. He's found something. Wyndham, he was great, and then really good again at Northern Trust. I think he's going to putt good on any surface. I like him. I like him a lot. I mean, I don't think 7,900 is really overpriced for him either.
He is striking it better.
He's striking it good now. It's not just like, he's like, a little bit better. I mean, his last 2 events are good.
Yeah, I'll give you that. His last 2 events are good. Wyndham was ridiculously good. Northern Trust was good. I don't know. It's just so tricky with these guys. We've talked about this. I don't want to dig into 1 week, but it's just so, I don't want to say ironic. He finally strikes it good at the Northern Trust, and then he loses. That was the first time he had lost strokes putting since March.
Dude, he's so due now. He's going to gain like 10
yeah, he's due all right. Listen, in a field like this, when you have a skill set that good, you're certainly going to be in play. I like him more than the guys that are around him. I like him more than Glover, more than Schwartzel, more than Furyk, more than Grace. I don't even pretend to know. Not Charlie Hoffman. Patrick Rogers is another putting god. The problem with him is his ball striking has been atrocious. At the Northern Trust, he lost a crisp 15 strokes tee to green. So I don't know if I want to chase that. But the next 2 guys, talk to me about this little range. We've got Charlie Hoffman, Cameron Tringale, Luke List. I don't mind going to these type of plays in this field.
Hoffman, is really interesting because he had been bad for a very long time. And actually, he struck it great at the Northern Trust, gained 6.1. He also Workday had a decent ball striking performance, but he's the kind of guy that he's a much better player than the price, especially in this field. And if we have some inkling that maybe he's turning things around, seems like he could be a value. So yeah, I like him. I don't think a lot of people will be on him, but yeah, he's definitely turned things around. I think that's interesting at 7,500 in this field. Tringale, he's kind of more the consistent guy, I guess. And that's not a bad thing, but like we said, I just don't know. He seems like even no matter how bad the field is he really going to contend? I don't mind him playing good. He's a California guy. And List, I like, had those 2 just amazing ball striking events back to back and 2 atrocious putting events. I think it was it Memorial and PGA, I think, where he just was awesome ball striking and lost like 7 strokes putting.
It was bad. It was PGA and Wyndham.
PGA and Wyndham, all right. And then he was bad at the Northern Trust, so I don't know what to make of it. I think this is a good course for him, though. I like the setup. He's definitely striking it better. Good score, was 4th here in 2019. So yeah, I don't mind him as kind of the more inconsistent option as opposed to Tringale, who I think definitely a lot more made cut equity, but the scoring upside and maybe like the top 5 potential, I just don't know if it's there with Tringale.
The other thing with List, and I know I'm kind of speaking generalities, we see lists hovering around 7K in very average to above average fields. He's $7,400 in this field. If he had a couple of decent performances to close, he would be 9,500 here. There's not a doubt in my mind. So just that price tag alone, Charlie Hoffman, you're going to get miscut equity through the roof, but he also has top 5 equity, which is what you're looking for. Unlike Cameron Tringale, some of these other guys that are much more live to make the cut. Kyle Stanley is just here. I'd be lying if I said I had a good feel. Tee to green, it's actually been okay, but the results have been god awful.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of plays in this range. You can make a case for a lot of guys, and I don't think I'm going to get there with Stanley.
What a world. Maverick?
Not good at the Wyndham, decent at Barracuda, good at 3M. It's just,
God.
I don't know. Yeah.
RCB is here?
He's been terrible.
Yeah, straight garbage.
He's been bad.
Harry Higgs, this is where you're going to find this is a good flyer range, but it's really hard to find any consistency. Your boy Taylor Gooch is here. Sepp Straka, some really good ball strikers, but guys that are just not consistent.
You just going to skip right over Wes Bryan?
No, I was waiting. I was just waiting. Hopefully, I was hoping my feed cut out. I was going to give it a couple more moments before we had to do this. Again, I felt like a damn genius listening to you about Wes Bryan at Wyndham. He was like 6 under in the first round, and then he was just 6 under permanently.
He's working his way back. All right, it's not going to be overnight. Okay, but I mean, he really put him with Denny McCarthy as very similar. They're very similar players, putting gods, awful ball strikers. I mean, Brian's the same thing. He's figured something out. All right, he's gained 4.6 with the ball striking at Wyndham, and that includes gaining a stroke off the tee, which for him that's like monumental success. Gained 5.1 at Rocket Mortgage, was right around even off the tee, and gained 6.3 at the Travelers. So his last 3 starts on the PGA Tour, really good ball striking. Again, another guy who prefers Bermuda, but he's found something with the ball striking. And I think even on Poe, I think will be a fine putter. I don't know if it's like an ideal spot for him. I don't love the course for him, but I'm just saying he's playing much, much better, and he's figured something out. I think he's gotten the driver figured out. Last 8 rounds, slight positive off the tee. So, I mean, I don't mind him. I don't love him here because I don't think the course fit is great for him, but he's figuring things out, and he's definitely a guy in some of these that I'm going to keep an eye on at, like RSM, Mayakoba, some maybe better course fits.
Yeah, listen, he is someone that if you're running models or data, you have to keep in mind that most likely you have really bad data for him because he was hurt and he was losing 5 to 7 strokes off the tee seemingly every week. So that's not going to happen anymore. He's not going to become a driving god, but you're right. Tee to green, he's fixed it. He's a better player than his price because it hasn't caught up. I don't like this course, so that is the big concern. This is not a good course for him.
It really isn't. That is concerning. The putting surface, just the
layout in general.
Yeah, just the layout in general. He's going to look really good in the last 12 round model, and like the last 100 round model, not going to look so good.
No, he'd be down there with Brendan Todd in that. So I have this is a pure flyer. Johnny Vegas. He's going to gain off the yeah, that's right. He's going to gain off the tee. He is the type of guy. I just want to read off these putting splits, and this really encompasses what I'm talking about. In his last 5 events, he's gained for putting 3.1, 3.6, 1.7, and then he's lost 3.6 and 5.5. He's that type of player, and I think when you pair the off the tee and that type of putting, you get a true 1% flyer in tournaments. That's about all I could say about him. Any comment on Johnny Boy?
Is all I heard is that he's gained 3.6 the last 2 times out and missed the cut. That's I tuned out after that. It's like if you can't make the cut, gaining 3.6.
No, I was going backwards. That was when he was playing good at Travelers.
You're much better at these type of plays than I am. the kind of like reading the tea leaves and legitimately finding like a 1% guy. I mean, I'll defer to you. So no, because all I see is 4 straight miscuts.
Yeah.
And
I see.
I
This
can't
is
get
where, listen, I think these are the type of plays where the money is made, to be honest. Like it's
that's
very,
so bad.
no, it's such a fine line because you can start throwing out dozens of these guys and most of them are going to miss the cut. I just don't think that Johnny Vegas coming in missing 3 straight cuts makes him, I know this sounds kind of stupid, but I don't know if that necessarily makes him more likely to miss this cut. When you look at his game, and I think this is a fine course for him. I really do. Like he's played here a bunch. Course history's not, but it's erratic as he is. Like he's got a 10th, he's got some missed cuts, he's got some middling. I don't want to get hung up on him because there's a million other guys, but you could do worse than him.
This feels exactly like that the time you said to play Charles, like, and I said he's missed like 5 straight cuts, and then I made fun of it, and then he finished like T3. I don't know if that's the work day or the.
I think it's 3M, but
like,
yeah,
literal. This feels like exactly the same spot.
It's well, Charles just an anomaly though, and he just for the record, yeah, Charles coming into 3M had missed 4 straight cuts, and then he came in third. Hopefully that happens with Johnny Vegas. Anyway, do you want to talk about Chesson Hadley, Pat Perez, Zhingzhun Zhang, any of these guys before we get into the cheapies?
Christopher Ventura.
Yeah, that guy.
No, I really don't.
No.
I mean, I don't know. This is such a weird week. It feels like it's a week where you can't find one good play, but then it also feels a week where there's like a lot of guys you could play. It's so, I don't know. The first time I looked at things, I was like, oh, this is a terrible week. I don't even know if I can make one lineup like that I'm comfortable with. And then it's like you start clicking a guy, and then you find like there's like 5 or 6 other guys in that range that you can make a case for. It's like, oh, I could pivot to Hoffman. I could pivot to Liss. I could pivot. And it's like next thing you know, you're in the weeds. So I don't know. It's not an easy week.
Certainly not easy. Yeah, I'm having more trouble. I can tell you right now, my problem is not going to be making lineups. It's going to be prioritizing them. Like I can make a bunch of lineups that I feel okay with, but if I had to look at them and say, these 3 are my 3 max and high dollar lineups, that's going to be a problem this week. It's very hard to separate.
Yeah, I would agree 100. I think that's exactly kind of how I felt. I was like, I don't really like, and then it's like, well, I could play this guy, but then I don't know. It feels like there's 4 other guys at that
4
same
pivots.
Price range that they're all like a coin flip to each other, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, boy. All right. We go to the cheapies. And I do want to just say, as I always do, Chad, we appreciate the likes. We appreciate the views. If you guys haven't signed up for Awesemo Plus and you want to, we have so many passes. Come check us out. It's not just for golf. I did an NFL show today. NBA is going on. Baseball, MMA, the U.S. Open for tennis is this week. The U.S. Open for golf is next week. College football, we have some big things coming for college football. There is a slate this Saturday. No Chubb Hubbard, but we got some big names on that slate. Tim will be playing, dropping the goods. So I'm excited. Like I said, if you don't want to sign up for a month or an annual, come in for a week. Go to awesemo.com/join. Select the package that works for you. But let's get to these cheapies. We kick things off with Peter Uihlein, he's a guy. We got Duffner, Tom Hoagie, Shank. I mean, there's still names down here. It's just very inconsistent players.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk about Shank, but he honestly feels like the kind of guy that we kind of both said not to play. He feels like the $6,900 version of Tringali. Just a very consistent guy, but I just don't know if he really has the pop to actually contend. But I mean, if you're just looking at finishes and looking at his stats, I mean, they look very good for 6,900. Made his last 7 cuts, positive ball striking in his last 5 events, his last 5 shotling events. So he's playing good, but just I don't know. I think if you're playing some high variance guys, and you don't want to just jam in 6 high variance guys, maybe there's some safety with Shank. But I just question if he really has the upside to kind of contend even in a terrible field like this. But he's been consistent. The finishes have been decent, making cuts, stats have been good. So I don't mind him, but just kind of maybe the opposite of the type of guy that you would really maybe want to target. I don't know. That seems like a really weird way to tout a guy, but
it's a little strange, but I certainly echo your thoughts on it. He's playing good enough to find the weekend, but at the same time, the guy doesn't have a top 25 finish since January. That's not great. So it's just how you frame it. I don't think that he's automatically making this cut by any stretch, and I don't think he's automatically drawing dead to give you some ceiling, but more often than not in a range like this, I'll look to Wyndham Clark. Aaron Wise is really playing bad, but in theory, I would look to him because these are guys who are really, Aaron Wise is one on tour, and Wyndham Clark can get crazy hot. He can go out and shoot 63, no problem. JB Holmes is a no, right? It's got to be a no.
Oh, he was in this field, is he?
I don't know. Maybe he's not. That would make it so much easier.
He is. Wow,
he's got a little note. What does it say? Shoulder, like he's playing football, is listed in the field. Get out there, JB.
That's going to slow him down even more. He's going to have to be worrying about rubbing his shoulder.
That guy.
Yeah, I mean, I am with you, right? Like Aaron Wise, just infinitely more likely to win, contend, like just psycho scorecard, finish T30, but make just a boatload of birdies and eagles, like way more likely than Shank in all of those scenarios. So yes, I would agree with you. Some of the problem is it's like, wow, you're looking at these guys trying to cobble up a reason to play them. And like a lot of the stuff will point to Shank, but like we said, the upside just isn't there.
Sorry, I was distracted because I'm literally reading the note on Bryson Nimmer.
No idea. I thought he was a leadoff hitter for the Mets, but
he may be that guy. Nimmer has withdrawn his name from the field. He'd been playing really well in the Locally Q Series race to the Bahamas. Ah, yes.
Yes. I mean, that's some elite company.
Locally. Just a good Italian place by me named Locally. I get real good salmon from there. But
can I take him off my spreadsheet or what? I was going to lock him in.
Bryson,
he's not even cheap. Like, that's not that cheap for a guy I've never heard of in my life.
This guy's so good. They don't even give him the red O. They just leave him in there. But apparently he's not playing. So
he just withdrew his name, though. I don't know. I was like, does he have to be okay to withdraw? Like, I feel like
who is this guy? Mackenzie Tor. He's a Clemson guy. He's probably watching the game on Saturday. Well, one down in the cheapies. Like Austin Cook, no. Bermuda Benny's withdrawn. Burgoon's withdrawn. Man, there's a lot of missing guys.
A lot of guys just didn't want to play here.
What about? So, do you think there's any chance that Russell Knox finds something?
No.
Okay.
This is not a good spot for him. I think a lot like Wes Bryan.
Agree.
This is the type of course that I would want to play him at. Shorter courses, Bermuda courses, I think we've seen him have success at. I'd be more intrigued with him at that type of place. So it's like if you're looking for a guy to turn things around, it's one thing if the guy has already turned it around and it's like, well, this isn't a great course fit, but maybe it works. It's another thing if it's like you're looking for him to turn around and he's trying to do it on a course that probably isn't a good course fit. That's like kind of 2 red flags for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think chasing, if a guy has shown sign, it's actually, what you want is the opposite. You want a guy who's maybe shown a little life on bad courses, and now he comes to a course that's a much better fit, and you're like, all right, he's trending upward, but the results haven't been there. Now he gets a great course. That's what I've done, and I've tried to buy with some guys here and there.
The problem is we don't know what type of course this is. Even though they've played here for like 8 years.
We know enough to say it's not a Russell Knox course.
Very
it's
true.
Just not.
Very true. I got one for you. I got a lock down here.
Hold on. Is it Matthew Neesmith?
It's not Matthew.
Good. Okay. I didn't want to go there. Who is it? Is it bad?
I've had never heard of this guy until about 4 weeks.
Great. Yeah, that sounds promising.
Chris Baker, 6,400.
For the birdie, Pat May always says the birdie maker Baker. This guy Go ahead, please.
I don't know where he came from. I don't know where he's been. I don't know what. All of a sudden, this dude just comes out of nowhere. He's not a young guy either, which is not great. I wish he was like 22 or something. T20 at Wyndham gains almost 6 strokes with the ball striking. T53 at the Barracuda, we don't know what he did. T41 at 3M gained 7.3. T45 at Rocket Mortgage gained 3.6. The guy has the ball striking in this field of literally like a 9K guy, like Doc Redman or Rio. He's like, I mean, he might be over the last, and this isn't an exaggeration, over his last 12 rounds, which kind of span, he doesn't play a lot, goes all the way back to the Rocket Mortgage. He might be like top 3 or 4 in ball striking over those events. I shit you not.
Chris, so this guy, first of all, he's striped. Yes, tee to green, you legitimately, if you did a blind test, you would have him easily in the top 10 of this field. 2, I played this guy, I believe it was at 3M, and on the last hole, he needed a birdie. It was the par 5, and he put it in the drink, dropped it, hit it across the water, and still made birdie to make it on the number. Chris Baker is a fighter.
He'll fight for you. He won't give up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had him, I think, on my DJ teams, and that was when DJ was shooting 85 every single week. I don't mind that. I really don't. This is the type of player, he scores. If he makes the weekend, he will outscore his placement. And normally, he truly is playing in fields where he's towards the bottom talent-wise. That's not the case this week. He is just as good as a large majority of this field.
Yeah, and I mean his price at 6,400 in this field is ridiculous, and I should crunch the numbers, or somebody who has a better supercomputer than me should crunch the numbers. And over the last 12 rounds, I just like to see where he ranks in the entire field in ball striking. I guarantee it's way up there.
Yeah, I mean he's gaining, it's like four strokes tee to green per event.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Nimmer guy, this guy's a character. Good for him, right? It's a shame we won't see him. I was looking forward to it
on the Locali tour, though.
Oh, Cali, man, I'm gonna have to get some food after this. It's good marketing. Any like Chase Seifert? I'm just throwing out some names. You got like Jimmy Walker's a name, but he's playing so bad. Affy Barnrat.
Jimmy Walker's not playing anymore.
No. Okay. He's got it. Goodbye.
No.
I don't think you want to go to the real low. I know these guys aren't that much worse than they have no form whatsoever when you get to like the flat min.
James Hahn. There you go. 6K. I love that guy.
Look,
I love James here. Hahn. I got nothing. No, I'm not going. Here's the thing is this is definitely not the field where you need to go cheap on, because, right, what are you going cheap for? There's nobody to pay up for it. That, it's great to have cheap guys when it's like, oh, we're going to jam in like DJ and Rom. But why are you taking on this risk? And I do like Baker, so he's definitely the one guy below 7K I really like. But to try and figure out like really sneaky plays and multiple guys down here when there's nothing to play at the top. So, why go down here? That's part of the problem. It'd be great if this was a really strong field and we had a lot of expensive guys we had to play. Then we could go hunting for, guys below 6,500. But what good is it going to do you this week? Nothing.
Well said. Like if for some insane, and it would be reason, say like Rom and JT were here and they were both 12,000, like you could conceivably play both and then you'd want to take 4 guys from down here, something like that.
You don't want to take 2 pure punts to jam in Siwoo and Phil.
Yeah, because when you do that and then Siwoo, like, do you realize what Siwoo's made cut equity is, like compared to what normal 12K golfers are? It's not great, let me tell you. So yeah, be cognizant of that. And in terms of lineup construction, and then we'll bounce on out of here, I do think that attacking, for me, that 9K range and that 7K range will be a popular build. I don't want to go to the extremes just because I don't think the players up top nearly warrant the players that you'd have to take down low, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I think, we're on the same page there. But once I plug in Chris Baker, though, that leaves me with a lot of money. So
Baker, if he could putt, I will say, and again, it's just shot tracker, but I watched, his full 18 pretty intently a couple days, and he gives himself looks. This is a guy that, of course, I don't know much about him. In a field like this, he is more than playable. I wouldn't be stunned to see one of his better finishes on tour.
He might be able to crack the top 40 this week. You never know.
You never know. And on that note, Safeway Open, we've got a lot of guys here. We didn't get through all of them. So tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, me and Jeff Ulrich will be breaking it down live before lock, answering your questions. We had a great suggestion from chat earlier in the show, talking a little more about lineup construction. We will do that tomorrow. We'll get into it. Hit the like button on your way out. It's been fun. Follow us on Twitter. Handles right there. If you have any questions, hit us up. Hope to see you inside the ropes soon enough, chat. It's going to be a long, good year, but let's get through the Safeway, then we get to the Open. Good luck this season, fellas. I'm with you, T-Dog. And on that note, we will see you guys tomorrow night.